maybe. I was trying to use my new camera. Doesn't work. Doesn't even record. And I tried to record with it. So it's just really annoying. Really annoying. To put it mildly. And now I do actually. The strange thing is my phone works, so I'll just use my phone. Makes me look like shit in this light. I just have to live with that, I guess. Now, if you come in here and you want to ask me questions and stuff, so please do. That's why I'm streaming. If I'm going to have a conversation, it's very important that people engage. It also gives me more to work with. If you just want to watch, just watch. Remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you see this in hindsight, please go and thumbs up and stuff like that. So, yeah. And with this, I'm just gonna do a little bit of some other stuff before. I see 2 people are here now. If you're 2 people, give it a thumbs up. Okay. So I'll be there soon. Just gonna do some feeding. Not really feeding. Why can't I get my lecture? Hello, that's me, that's my second channel. Hi. Okay, I'm coming soon. So, okay, I'm back. Oh, thank you. That's nice of you. Thank you. Irene Divesto. Yes, I still have your palette and I will send it to you. It was really sweet of you to give me that $5 thing there. We appreciated. CR Ted, probably probably didn't write that right. Write it write that right, to put it mildly. Yeah. So, if you want to have a conversation while I paint, that is great. I was actually going to use my new camera, and that is just the worst camera ever. I paid fucking over $1,000, $1,200 for it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't link up, and then it linked up, and then the shit. Then the sound didn't work. So I'm just pissed off. I'm gonna go back to that store. There've been so much problems with that. I was so looking forward to get a camera that actually looked better. Well, I looked better while I'm painting. But no, that would be a miracle. I mean, these phones are probably better now anyway. Just the lighting, I really look horrible in this lighting. But the audio is junk. Oh, fuck. Let me listen to it. Yeah. What is that sound? Yeah. Is there some interference or something? Maybe it is. What about now? Did it become better? No, same shit. Did it become better? No, same shit. Did it become better? What the fuck? What about now? Maybe there's some interference or something? Or maybe it is. Ugh, that was something. Well, so how is it now? Well, it sounds a little bit better. I don't know. Tell me, how is the sound now? Is it equally bad? Maybe I should. Could somebody tell me? Is it possible to hear? Is it worthwhile? So, Irene Visilvestro, could you tell me? Hello. Hello, Amalia. They say the sound is horrible. I don't know. Is the sound bad? You can hear, yeah, you can hear me. I know that, but even Givestro said the sound was horrible. I know that, but even Givestro said the sound was horrible. Well, I can hear it, so I should do. Yeah, got my, what was it? I got my fifth something super chat, or no, yeah, super chat, or was it fourth or something? That's nice, very nice actually. It's appreciated. I'm just gonna send this link to some people. Why must it always fuck with me? Okay, I just need to do some pacing. So, okay, let's do some work. It is some static sound in the background. Yeah, it is. What is that? I don't know. But is it possible to listen to, or what? Yeah. Anyway, people should just jump, in these videos. And so I can actually write in comments and stuff, so people can just jump into it. Now, yesterday, do you think I should go closer with the camera so people see more what I'm painting? I think I'm going to do something. The problem is the twisting. When I stand here, I see this as it is. When I stand here, it kind of twists. And that is actually a problem. I'm just going to go here. Cut off some of the photo and just move it closer like this, so the communication becomes a little bit more direct. Yeah. Sorry for the static. I have no idea why it does that. Maybe I should get a microphone to my phone and try that out. Anyway, just gonna get some colors here. As usually, I do my magic with my Maple Gel Extra and Alsarin, and Cobalt Blue. I actually got some, I was kind of pissed off because it stopped actually selling some brushes with pigs here, and I got so annoyed with the store but then they had some that actually is not good quality. It's bad quality, but it kind of were nice after all. They were quite dynamic, so I'm going to try to use them. If you have any, Amalia, if you could trigger some conversation, that could be nice. Or something, maybe you're going to bed soon. The problem is my schedule is always off compared to hers. So, that's annoying. Constantly. I'm trying to do something about it, but I think you have to send me back to jail or something for me to be able to get my schedule right again. And then I have to kind of, but that wouldn't work. I would just go right back to my stupid habits. At least I dropped exercise today, but also it's so typical. When I was going to do the stream with my camera, I bloody well used 2 hours just trying to get it to work, and it didn't work in the end, so I spent time on this shite when I should be painting. It was so annoying. These were actually quite good. They are crappy, but good. It's cheap. Hobby. It's hobby. And the reason why they are good is because of the grizzle is quite grizzled. Yeah, it's surprising that actually cheap brushes can give a better result for me than expensive brushes. The worst to paint with, I think, is they had some artificial ones, probably made of plastic in China. We should stop buying shit from China, because China is a greatest enemy. They are what keeps, especially the war in Ukraine, alive and stuff. So we should definitely stop buying shit from China. We have to wean off China and be willing to pay some more. But anyway, that was a digression. So the reason why these are so cheap is, of course, made in China. And yeah. Okay, there was a digression. I just fell out. If somebody have a painting question, I see 10 people are watching now. So if somebody has a painting question, or another question, or personal question, or whatever question, you can talk to me about food, how to lose weight. You can talk to me about anything. Exercise, painting. We can argue about politics. No problem with that. I have a thick skin and the same broad back. I can take most arguments. But usually people can't take any dissent from their own personal precious opinions. And I find that to be extremely annoying. So, also funny with when I actually used my camera earlier today, nobody linked up to my screen, but now it's 12 people in there already, and that's nice. So how's the sound now? Is it equally horrible? I'm just gonna well, it is that noise from behind here. But anyway, I guess that's how it is. Maybe you should just, what was funny? How do you prefer your eggs? How do I prefer my eggs? I prefer them. Last time was carbon footprint. Carbon footprint. Yeah. I prefer them kind of soft. Yeah. Usually I forget them and they become so hard that I have to throw them away and make new ones. So that's how I like my eggs. Carbon footprint. Who cares? Carbon footprint. Who cares? I mean, you're so you know, the whole world is so into oil and fossil fuels. You see that in the war in Ukraine, how even Europe, which is basically at war with Ukraine, and NATO is still buying oil and gas from them. It's like you should buy oil and gas from Adolf Hitler during the Second World War, while the chimneys of Auschwitz was smoking. And we said, yeah, we have to spend a couple of years to find another source. This is just crazy. We're living in an insane world, totally insane world. And it's just absurd. It's so absurd that we are in 2025 are still waging wars. We still believe in these gods, and we argue about who has the right god, and all this is just unbelievable. It's just weird. It's almost like I can't grasp it in a way. Yeah, it's actually. Do you think it looks like her? Would you like me to go closer, or do I stand in the way or something? Maybe I stand in the way. Anyway, if somebody want to ask me some painting questions, please do. So, hey, does that work? Yeah, I can actually zoom in like this. Whoa, whoa. Okay, then I do that for a while. I could zoom on my phone. I didn't know that until now. Wow, that's impressive. You know, never do that. Never draw like this. Never add in light in the eyes until in the end. It's very important not to do these things. I could actually zoom. I didn't know that. It's so ridiculous. It was just, let me try this, and it worked. Now I just have to tone down the eyes there because it's very disturbing. So just go over it and tone it down like this. Because the thing is, when we paint faces, most people actually try to what we do, the biggest mistakes we do is to try to draw it, you know, you draw it instead of paint it. So that's a great mistake. Now, I must say that these were kind of a little bit too loose. So, Amalia, do you want to ask me a question? Or Rivesto? Mr. Rivesto? Okay, remember to give I see people are popping in and out there, so at least give it a thumbs up, because it's very important for the algorithm. I can't really say that too many times. It's so important. It's tragic that it's gonna be this important, but that is how it is. Welcome to my life. Actually, I have this one. This is very nice. It's very expensive. But so I have to take good care of it when I'm done today. It's very typical of me to forget. Sometimes I just forget. Yeah, what I was thinking about when I was talking, I talk about these things ad nauseum, but try to avoid too much. Try to avoid symbols. Try to kind of. It's try to kind of. It's such a ridiculous thing to say. Try to kind of. The hell does that even mean? I don't know. What does try to kind of mean? Avoid symbols. It's so easy to fall into this thing where you start painting symbols instead of actually seeing. One of my students, I have kind of students, yeah, I have some people also on PATRON that pays me to get advice, and that is very nice. But I have some students that I help painting. I have some courses, you can see that on my YouTube, by the way. And I told I had a little phone or kind of web talk with one of them today. She had painted some very nice paintings of some kids, but she had she didn't really paint exactly what she saw. She had added in eyes that you couldn't really see, and adding in a lot of white, so everything competed. If you're gonna get light, you need to focus the light, you need to, so this is very smooth, and it's really difficult because usually I would have more texture to work with. Also it's backlight, so the light in the face is very subdued and it's very orange, and it's extremely hard to see exactly what kind of colors it is. So then the way I can manage to do it is actually trying to forget that I'm painting an eye, or that I'm painting, actually forget what I'm painting and try to paint just what I see. And that is what you have to try to do when you paint. You just need to try to paint what you see, not what it is. Because the moment you go over to starting to paint what it is, you start adding symbols. Because our brains are full of symbols for everything. Symbols for trees, bees, clouds, eyes, mouth, nose. There's so many symbols that, and you have to overcome that. You have to come that impulse to exaggerate, for instance, the eyes or something like that. It's really hard. That's one of the greatest hurdles you have when you start painting. It is to break down the symbols. And try it right here. It's too hard, and I need this. She has quite hard eyebrows, but if they become too hard, it just seems like somebody has, despite these being very pronounced, and I don't really know why people actually have eyebrows like this, because in the female face, I think it kind of makes the face a little bit more masculine actually, so it's better to have most of the makeup around the eyes to increase the power of the Bronze. So yeah. Anyway, let me see. Any tips how to see color? Yeah, how to see color. Yeah, you try to, if you have yellow or orange or reddish, like in this one is actually, as I said, very difficult. It's quite red here. You can't see that now because I have to, you can maybe see it a little bit in the photo. You can see yeah, you can see here it is kind of reddish and reddish, maybe over to the orange. So you go down here and you get some greenish, and that is the complementary color. So what you can do is like, okay, I have some orange here. There has to be blue somewhere. There has to be, yeah, and underneath here you get a kind of violet, orange, yellowish. You have a lot of this Naples gel. Also, if you think that you know have a lot of red and you have a lot of there's some yellowish and orange and stuff, so the background will be in the green, blue, yellow colors, and I can see in the background how complementary colors are melting together as a contrast to this. So you just have to kind of, if you see a color, you should just look around for the complementary color. And if you look and look and look and look for it, you will find it. It's like if you have a shadow or light that hits a red wall, I can guarantee you that the shadow will be quite greenish, or a mix between some green with a little bit of red in it, that creates that shadow color. I'm just going to tone this down. It's totally the wrong color. And that's the good thing about being able to foresee the future a little bit, because now we go in with some of this reddish color. And I use this and just drag them together. That is why I usually do most of the real mixing on the canvas by dragging colors together. If I should stand here and try to mix it on my palette, it would be way more difficult. So yeah. And you can follow up a question. One angel of light. Oh, one angel of light. It's funny how I see all the mistakes now when I see it on camera. When I see it in real life, I'm getting that secondary distance to it, so I start seeing the mistakes, that this is probably a little bit too high, and this is because she's doing like this with her hair, and my brain kind of interprets it as higher than it actually is. And that is also what I talk about when I talk about the symbols, because our brain are constantly tricking us into with the symbols. So let me see what happens if I remove some of that. Maybe I should just stick with my phone when it comes to these streams and forget about my new camera. Probably never going to work out anyway. Yeah, I think that became a little bit better. You see what I do? I just go in with color. Also, since there is a backlight in this painting, I will also build very thick colors around it. That is very important. You say I talk, my English is more kind of American English. Is that correct? Somebody comment on that? I never really learned English. I just learned from watching movies and talking and stuff. So you see on my old posts on Facebook and stuff, I basically used to write as I spoke. That is quite ridiculous. One angel of light. Now, in nature, you will always go back to Amalia's question about color. In nature, you will always find, the only thing you find all over the place is complementary colors. That is why I do not understand. There's a group of painters in Norway who is students of Nadler. He's a very good painter, but he doesn't use any color, or very little color. And it's very hard to understand how he can talk about the classics like Rembrandt and stuff like that. And not use any color. And despite him being very good at creating textures and paintedness, the surfaces are very dead. And that is a lack of complementary colors. If you look at Rembrandt and you understand the color circle and you understand how colors work, you will very quickly see that these people were painting with complementary colors. And intuitively they did that long before Itten or Goethe came up with their color circle and stuff. See here. See that is of course way too strong. And I just even that out. Try going over it again. And just ease it down. And then I take some more of my famous Naples yellow. Add that in. Because instead of adding more light now in it, I just go behind it and I build out the shape from behind. It's basically adding clay. Yeah. Okay. You see now? Here. Maybe I did, I think I maybe went out too far in this. I can also look in the mirror. That's very good way to see if things are correct or not. Just take a mirror like this and you see the photo. And it actually start to fall into place. It's not that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad actually. I can see a lot of small mistakes. And no, it's actually, yeah. I think that the eye on this side has to be a little bit higher. Of course, the nose has to be worked very much. That's also very difficult. The nostrils. I think the nostrils is some of the most difficult. I'm just gonna zoom out. Yeah, 7. I'm just gonna do a little bit like this. It's nice to see I can do this with my phone, so just gonna get some better sound. If you're new here, please give it a thumbs up. And if somebody has some questions or something, please ask. You can ask about anything. I'm not saying I will answer everything, but you can ask about anything. I will probably answer everything also, just the way I am. Limitless. And, it was so funny when I was in jail. There was this guy from this gypsy from Romania, big guy, using my muscle. He's talking about his muscles all the time. And he said to me, you're the strangest person I ever met. And that was so funny because you take that as a compliment. You can see my, by the way, if you're new here, I'm not a criminal, I just have some stupid hobbies that the police didn't like making live guns out of replicas and stuff. It's just a hobby. Always seems to pick the right things, you know. So after that happened, I started to try to think a little bit into the future. With like the painting process, you try to look into the future, and how will this? When you do painting, you have to look into the future. You have to try to predict how the layers or the brushwork or whatever will manifest in the future. And that is what I'm trying to do in life now. I'm trying to picture what my actions would lead to in the future. Will this action lead to something good? Will this action lead to something bad? And it's actually very predictable. I kind of lost a little bit of interest in Jordan Peterson after he became so goddamn religious. But he's right about one thing, many things of course. If you do the wrong thing over and over a long period of time, you will sooner or later go to jail, or even worse, you won't be having enough time to fix it in existence. You spend so much time on doing the wrong things that you just suddenly just out of time. So anyway, that was a digression. I saw my viewers fell. So also when I do live streams, usually when I paint, when I'm alone and just playing music, it's easier for me to go way deeper into my paint. So yeah. The thing also with oil paint, the problem is that you put in some layers and they cannot dry in. Also when there's so little neons in a photo. It's kind of easier to, the nuances is disappearing from one day when they dry. So sometimes you just have to stop painting on it and let it dry for a while, and then put on the retouche vernis. So yeah. Just want to even out most of the nuances and try to link it together. Also the hair is going to be really difficult because there's so little information. If there were too much information, it would be too hard. So you just have to find this middle line. Just have to make impressions of everything. And the hair goes up here and goes behind. It goes kind of behind there. Yeah. I'm just going to give it some. Anyway, you see now, I need to just clean up a little bit. I use a lot of alizarin in this, and cobalt blue, no, not cobalt, sorry, French ultramarine. And the thing is, I just need to work with neons again and again and again. Now what I'm going to do now is start cleaning up my room in a way. Just start to link. Because in the beginning it's just very rough. And you will see that in the process video. I will of course post on my YouTube. So yeah. Also, directions is very important when you paint. I think you understand that underneath here is a different direction but here it just melts together. The nuances between, I can see a little bit difference, but the nuances are extremely close together. There is no real point where the chin goes into the throat, and that is that. Instead of trying to paint, that is what you do if you don't switch your brain from symbol to just painting what you actually see. Is that people are trying to paint the difference between the throat and the chin, despite it not really being there. So that is how symbols can easily ruin a painting, because we add in things that aren't there. So if you're gonna do from a photo or something, I would recommend people just to stick with what you have in front of you. It's difficult enough. Don't try to invent things in the painting. Maybe you can actually do that after. So if you're gonna invent something or you're gonna add something that aren't in the painting you are, the photo you are actually using, paint it first as it is, and then when you're done and it actually is really looks like the object you started with, then try to add in. So first you get control over it, and then you can add in some extra things. Like when I'm done with the hair, I can maybe strengthen some of the lines. I could, enhance things. I could push things a little bit further. I could add something in the background if I want to. You could even use Photoshop and maybe add some things that aren't there. So yeah. But don't do it from the start, because especially if you do it from your head and you have nothing to look at, you just add in a lot of problems if you try to invent stuff. I'm gonna add in some thick colors around her now. I'm just gonna zoom in again so you see. Give it a thumbs up. You're gonna see. Maybe it's not so smart to do this now because I'm going to touch it and I'm going to. But anyway, the way I will do it is to take this brilliant gel extra, it's called. It's kind of a Naples yellow, and I add thick layers of paint, and you can go out like this. And what I will do over time is to crisscross and adding more and more and more. And as I do this, I create more and more clay-like sculptures, almost like relief made out of clay or plaster or whatever. And then I start mixing. When I do some glazing, the paint falls into the cracks and I paint over that again, and then it starts to kind of come alive like the background, because it's very flat. It looks very flat, but it really isn't. It is very much alive. So I'll put some red into this. So let's do it. So I need some more white, which is cool. Somebody have a question? Please ask and give it a thumbs up. I really need as many thumbs ups as possible to start getting my streams out into the algorithm. Maybe I should start doing streams more often so people get used to it and maybe tune in a little bit more. So now put some blue here also. Yeah, I will just crisscross. Also, when you add in thick colors, if you want more color on more thick colors on top of wet in wet, you just have to kind of hold your brush more light. Like if I wanted to put some yellow into this now, which there are, I could actually hold it like this and just go like this, and I add it on top of the blue, which is here. So just add it in. This way I create some kind of a micro impressionism. After, if you do it again and again and again and again, really are starting to create very natural, almost like nature-like motion in the colors. So yeah. So just put something more else. Also around an eye here, it's kind of yellowish or bluish. There's a lot of issues in this painting. Ish. Just tone it down and then bring it back up again, because this is way too bright. And that's also a symbol. When you do things and you have problems toning things down, it is because of your brain, like the white in their eyes. When I squint on this, I almost can't see what's in her eyes here. But since when I just look at it, I look at her eyes and I see some white, and my brain say, hey, paint the white there. And it's not really how it is in reality, and that is how we kind of kill paintings. Yeah. So let's turn it down. Just think of if we could have videos of a Rembrandt painting. Somebody tell me what for some of you who watch, what artists do you like? Is there any painters here? What artists do you appreciate the most? Have you learned something from art history? Do you have any experience of actually learning, watching paintings and then, wow, this is how, and then you just bring it into your own stuff? Don't be shy. I will tone it down and then I will just bring it back up again. Tone down, like this, and just bring it back up again. So, yeah. Like this. Tone down, and tone a little bit more down there with some maples and ultramarine. Especially here too much. It's way darker behind here. And it's like I struggle with the same things today that I did in the beginning. It's just on a different level. So I do have to paint like this to keep it down. I can't just do a lot of brushwork now. The most of the brushwork on this side. Somebody else first. Not a painter. Mother broke my fingers as a kid. kid, rotten thing to do. Besides, I can't draw faces who say your mother broke your fingers as a child. Seriously? You can't be serious. You still have in contact with your mother? As I many times say, some people say, oh, it's so sad. Old people are alone in their own pensioners' home. But then I say, you know, there's a reason for that. You know, when people are abusing their children, they end up alone before they die. Draw a face with the same outline. So what do you do, Lenny? What do you do? What do you do for a living? And tell me more about your mother. That was actually very interesting, because I once went deep into the child abuse thing, and it's a horrific. When you look at the numbers, even sexual abuse, it's just crazy. 1 out of 6 children are sexually abused by their. Maybe I shouldn't use that word because the video will be demonetized, but it's just crazy how children are treated. 1 out of 6 experience a dad who's too nice, and one out of 5. No, 6%. It was 6%. Sorry, it was 6%, not 1 out of 6. It was 6%, which is sky high anyway. And it's 1 out of 5 is abused in some way or another. So just these numbers. Over 400,000 kids disappear every year in the world, and nobody knows where they went. So it's horrible. Anyway, all that from some broken fingers. Tell me, what you have to tell me more if you were serious here. I mean, that's horrific. It sounds more like she broke your heart. The abusers are usually narcissists or psychopaths, so it's a horrific thing. Turn it down now, and then I have to bring it a little bit more up again. I can also spray like this. As you can see now, you just do like this, and I bring back the light that was underneath, so I keep some kind of nice texture. And I can shape it in a way, draw it, and bring it back up. And I'm actually fun to see, I can see what I'm doing in hindsight. Yeah, I also painted the eyes way too blue. But you have to excuse me there a little bit because actually the light on the phone is actually a little bit different from how it is in reality. So, oh yeah. I wonder if I'm gonna try to post these live streams as standalone videos, just enhance them a little bit. Take away the beginnings, because the beginnings are always so unfocused. Now you see how slowly I work with this? This pure meditation. I mean, if people like Vermeer could use the same technique, having the photo hanging beside, like this, they wouldn't use clear obscure. Because this gives me quite a direct communication. What I'm painting. Also this here, nostril here, I could work with the shadows. I can't make any lines, so there are like lines here. I've done a little bit there, but it's all going to come down to pure neons. Maybe I should do something more underneath here. Eyes. Maybe. This is it's watercolor pencil. Just turn it down. You know, pops out way more. Actually, there are some more white in there, so I can maybe try to. What color is it? What color? Like this? She has a very beautiful eye. She has this husky, very drawn, so it's going to be nicely worked with all the details in her eyes. It's going to be really fun, but I'm going to keep them down now. Just down. Let's try some different things. Something like this. I always said I'm going to draw the eyes, but it would of course collide with what I'm saying. Now if you wonder what kind of colors I use or something, you can just ask and I will of course tell you. So, you put on some makeup. Just that too. What is very difficult with eyes is getting these and it just glides. You can actually use a little bit of lines in the beginning just to work out how it all works, but you have to be careful not to make it too drawn. It's very important to avoid that it looks too drawn, because then you're back into this symbol thing, which ruins everything. It just doesn't look right. So try to avoid that. Need some more medium. The chain needs to be bigger. The chain, yeah, I haven't painted the chain yet. What do you mean chain? Chain? What do you mean chain? The chain? Like the thing around her neck? I haven't painted it yet. I think it's about, comes like underneath here somewhere. Yeah. Now this one is a little bit smaller, so it has to be down here somewhere. I think the chain actually goes like down here. Just put on some light points and down here. And more out in a way. And then comes here. In this half moon. So I haven't done that, but I will get to it. But that's why I'm working slowly down, because I want to have the face correct, and I go into the, I was actually going to add it in the here. Then comes here down here, so maybe I should add in some traces of that. A lot of my colors has actually dried a little bit too much. But so there's some here coming down here, and it's this thing. It goes also out like this. Just grind it. The chain has to be bigger. Chain. So the hair is, but you know, I will do this also. I think goes more out like this. That is why I don't try to add too much detail down here now, because it's just gonna mess things up, and then I have to correct that too. Which I will do now. Just correct it. Like this, I think it becomes more like this actually. It goes more out here. Like this, and then out like this, and then in. And this one too, I think this goes more like this. Even more actually. like this, and then have a more brighter red. The breasts. Just drag that into. See one comment and it derailed me. I don't know what it needs to change. Change. Yeah, I'm painting something. Let's see what I'm doing. I'm gonna stick with this now. But it's like 75 minutes anyhow. I'm gonna do 90, 15 more, and I need to have some food, a lot of coffee, and I will work with this beauty for a few more hours. I'm trying to turn my schedule around so I start working from the morning. That would be so liberating, also for my poor girlfriend who really can't handle shifting the hours around like I do all the time. I'm very hyperactive, so I can actually, I have never experienced jet lag, and I think that is because having such a severe ADHD as I do, I'm kind of always in a jet lag. For me, it's kind of a normal state of being, never really to be 100% awake, feeling 100% rested. I'm never there, I never get there. I have these moments of feeling rested. I have, it's like sometimes I just sleep way too little, and then I sleep for 10 hours. But it's difficult because it kind of screws up the brain chemistry all the time. So I wish I could just have a start in the morning, work first, because in the mornings I'm always most inspired. The problem is I often go to the gym first, or wake up too late and then I go to the gym and I exercise like I'm going to the Olympics, even if I'm 57, and I kind of wear myself out. Even when I was younger, I was exercising way too much, and when I was going to paint after, I was just exhausted. I'm trying to find this kind of schedule that I can get the best of all the worlds. And as you age, you actually, I notice now that I've aged. And funny, you can also start to see it in my videos. I go 5 or 10 years back, and I think, wow, I look so young. And that is when you start getting old, when you start seeing that, oh shit, you know, I have aged. My chin is looser, and, you know. Guess you just have to accept it. I saw this interview of Arnold Schwarzenegger on YouTube today, and he said, you know, for him it was even more horrible. For people who never took care of their bodies, they basically always look crappy, so it doesn't really matter, you know. But for people who have really been in good shape, like me. I have been really good in shape. Looked quite good, and seeing myself not being able to keep this up as you age, it's hard. But for him it's even worse because he was just a kind of a Greek god like time. I'm not into bodybuilding or that kind of bodybuilding, but I have to say that despite his size, I must say that if they had that kind of aesthetics, I think it would actually, yeah, be not so bad. Should get steroids out of it. It's just crazy. Blah blah blah. I'm digressing. I think I'm moving forward here. Could somebody tell me what they think about this? And also remember to give it a thumbs up. It's so important that you do. It's for the algorithm. It's almost impossible to get into the algorithm these days. I had some ads on Google ads and it worked. They got a lot more followers. But I don't think it manifests that much into real use. And this was actually, it's not fake, it's real people. I don't think it manifested that much into real use. Maybe a little bit more, but not compared to how many I think the best subscribers or the best people to get is maybe a few hundred or maybe 1,000 people who are a little bit dedicated to the channel, which then drives up the views every time you post a video. It's so important, and to investor. So, well, anyway, if you are still listening, every time I post a video, please give it a thumbs up. It doesn't cost anything, but it's extremely helpful to me and my channel. So I'm gonna beg, please. And as I start earning more money on this channel, I can dedicate more time on it because it can actually give me some security of income, which make it possible for me to not do commission works like this, and I can focus on the things I want to do. So yeah. But I really like working with this because the nuance is calming me out. You can't see any problems, huh? Thank you. I do think maybe, I think it's maybe a little bit too high. And this chin goes a little bit too, maybe it's going to be a little bit higher up. But it's hard to know because this, you know, this one is a little bit, yeah, I painted it a little bit bigger. And, oh, yeah, well, so what are you doing tonight, Erin? Erin? You painting? Kirk Douglas had this in the movie, The Big Trees. Oh. Look into that. Oh, after 8, yeah, okay. Yeah, there's an 8-hour time difference. Or is it 6 or 8? It's 12:16 here now, after midnight. So if you like, if you could go and put a thumbs up on my new videos, that would be great, because they really just dulled out. And that's funny because I have a lot of new followers, but it kind of doesn't manifest into that much more likes, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the Charlie Kirk video I posted. Maybe that pisses some people off. You know, I always tend to piss off people. That is, you know, a 6-hour difference, yeah. I always tend to piss off people, and that's my lot in life. We call it a lot, you know, lot around our legs when we are kind of, it's like an anchor, you know, it keeps me from flying in a way. I'm an atheist. This is quite weird. I'm an atheist, and still I support Israel, and I used to be a Trump supporter. I'm not really sure on that anymore after all the bullshit about Ukraine. I think he has failed there. Maybe he pulls himself back in, but that is just because he didn't get Putin to stop the war, and that is probably just because he wanted the peace prize, and that is a disgusting motive. Maybe he finally understood that he can't use his charm to make a psychopath do his bidding. But it's a failure of leadership anyway. So, but anyway, I've lost so many friends, both on the left and the so-called right, and this man. And that's okay. I form my own opinions from the facts, and it has a price. Of course, I see that I can get some followers and I lose some followers. I mean, I painted a Muhammad painting, so it's no wonder if people from the Middle East, or from Muslim countries, oh, they like my paintings, and then they see I painted Muhammad, and they get pissed off and they leave. But that's, that is what free speech is about. It is about, having opinions and saying what you think, despite it may cost some money, Can't be idealistic or have opinions if you are constantly worried about being liked. I always seem to kind of pick the least. A good example is the Floyd thing. When you see the whole video of his arrest and death, it is clearly the police just did his job, and he should never gone to jail for it. But he went to jail because of politics. And it's horrible, because he just did what was procedure to do in that situation. But you have to see the whole video, and you have to kind of look away from the spin in the media. And how many friends hated me and called me a racist for saying that, or called me a Nazi for supporting Israel. that is crazy. To call me a Nazi for supporting Israel. And why do I support Israel still after this madness in Gaza? Well, because they didn't start it. They never started it. It didn't start in 1948. It didn't start in... Well, they did a preventive strike actually in 1967, but that war, Six-Day War, Six-Day War was actually started by Russian misinformation, which hyped up the Arabs to build up forces up against the border of Israel. And then Israel had no choice, really. They had to take out the plains of Egypt and stuff. And then in 1973, they attacked again in the Yom Kippur War, and they lost again. And every time they lost a little bit more of the land. I mean, so no. And 30 years of terror. At some point, you just have to end it. So, and it's a shame actually, because the loss of life, the loss of humans in war, or famine, or anything actually is so sad, because as Carl Sagan said, we are a way for the universe to know itself. We are the consciousness of the galaxy or the consciousness of the universe, and every time you lose a human being needlessly, it's a loss of the universe's brain, or part of it anyway. Every single human being is the universe come conscious. It's sad. But you have to crack some eggs sometime. No, I know. I wouldn't. You don't want those people who say this stuff because you speak some truth. No. And I also changed my mind. If people can prove me wrong, I would change my mind. Like my opinions were yesterday's diapers. You know, I wouldn't care. Yeah, I don't use diapers, by the way. But you know, I'm not in love with my own opinions. I just need evidence to change them. I don't base my I try not to base my opinions on emotion, and nobody should. I mean, there are, as one said on YouTube, there are way more death in Ukraine these 4 years or 3 years than in Gaza. And much of the death in Gaza is because Hamas is hiding behind their own people. You know, in Islam you have this thing that is called involuntary murder. And if you are used as cannon fodder by the Hamas, if they let their children get killed, which they do, which they hope for, it's their strategy to get the left in the leftist anti-Semites in the West to go crazy, or even more crazy. They do it. Because it works. It works, and that is why the death toll on Gaza is tenfold higher, because of the left-wing lunatics and the people who use the Gaza war as a tool to virtue signal. It is a thing that dumb people can show some interest in and get cred, you know. It is the thing that makes them look like they actually have some empathy, when in reality that they don't really give a shit at all. And it is just depressing to see how many people virtue signal with the use of that conflict. And it prolongs it because Hamas see it works. If it didn't work, they wouldn't have done it. So, to the virtue signaling lunatics who support Hamas, which you actually do, when you say that Israel aren't allowed to defend their own country, and looking away from all the terror the last 30 years. Also, it was they who killed the peace process. So, by terror, and I can prove it, and I follow this, I was there when it happened. I remember when they started the peace process, it was such a nice environment. It was going so smoothly, and then boom. the fanatics started blowing bombs. And they killed it. There is a very good documentary. You can only find it in audio now. It's from PBS. It's called The Shattered Dreams of Peace. And there you get the whole story about the terror and how it just went sour. And everybody speaks the truth in that, but they removed it because it was too politically incorrect. They removed the video. I can't find the video. I do find some audio files of it. So I think it's sad because it was probably one of the best videos about that conflict I've ever seen. And I'm saying this and people hating it, and that's fine. There was a lot of stuff I totally disagree with Charlie Kirk, his Christianity, his religion, stance against abortion, stupid views about abortion, like, oh, you have to have that child because you chose to have sex. I mean, give me a break. There's a lot of stuff, he was way too conservative, but also agree with him in many things. But it doesn't matter. Why? He shouldn't have been killed because of this. So. But I think I should let my more political videos be on my all things artist Knut Andre Vikshåland, because I shouldn't poison my painting channel with too much of my opinions. Have you thought about creating a page for all your patrons to post photos and ask questions or get advice? Well, I do have my Patreon. If people ask questions there, they will get it. There's not much questions from there. Some private stuff and some coaching, but it's like nothing really takes off. But it's a little bit, it's I think it's like what is it? Was it $130 a month now of income on Patreon? It's not much. And on my channel here is like a few dollars a day on a good day. So it's not that, it's just, but everything is, and it's kind of slowly growing. So maybe someday I get into the algorithm. The sad thing was that I had the other channel that was hacked, and that channel was way deeper into the algorithm, and some of the videos had actually up to hundreds of thousands of views and stuff, and I think one of them actually was at 1 million, and it was generating views and some money every single day, but then it was hacked and destroyed. And when I reposted my videos, I never actually were able to get into the algorithm again. Also, I think I'm sure I'm shadow banned on Instagram. I'm not sure I'm shadow banned on YouTube, because I am monetized, so, but I know I'm shadow banned on Facebook, Instagram, at least that. So, yeah, maybe that has something to do with it. And I did discuss a lot of religion and I did a lot of Islam critique for many years and stuff, so it might be that actually winded up in me being shadow banned. Also, there's some nudity on my Instagram, and today they're actually hitting down on that way more than they used to. And so I took some of my videos now on YouTube, and I just put them into the members section. So if people want to see them, they have to be members. And that is the videos that are actually, I'm going to do that with the videos with nudity in them, because I don't earn shit from them anyway. And like the girl with a tattoo, I'm gonna post a new video of it, also a new time lapse, but I have to censor it. That is so ridiculous. I mean, you Google stuff on YouTube and you see women who's breastfeeding half-grown kids and clearly likes it too much, and it's monetized. Or videos of girls in tangas doing yoga, which is clearly also linked, of course, to OnlyFans. Nothing wrong with that. Earn on what you want to earn on. I'm not, but if there is there's a little bit of nudity in one of my paintings, I am instantly demonetized. These videos get instantly demonetized. And it's sad because this is art. I mean, the algorithm should, at least when they go over them, they should see that this is paintings, that it's not porn. But I do it anyway. It's so fucking annoying, you know? So my explicit videos will now, from now on, be in the member section. So if you'd like to be a member of my channel, I will post more nudity there, and I will post censored versions for everyone to see. Also, it's nice to have something extra for members anyway. At this point, I have one member. So if you want to be a member of my channel, please become a member. That would be probably also good for the algorithm, because if you earn for YouTube, and I guess you might also get a little bit more leeway. So yeah. Anyway, this was actually 108 minutes. Maybe I should just go for 2 hours. Huh? You getting tired of me now? People. So, but I need my coffee. Actually, I'm working way faster when I'm not filming or not doing this, because I focus very much more on what I'm doing. So, this is just the beginning. We changed many times. What is done? I will soon post some new very long videos, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to close down now. Have you thought about creating? Yeah, okay, yeah, not really. Actually, post my Patreon here. I got up now that if you want to see this page, you might see adults stuff. That's funny. Didn't know that actually. Some kind of flagged by. So, for people who want to, there's my Patreon. So, yeah, I think I'm exhausted now. So, if anyone has, there is 9 minutes left to, the clock is exactly 120 minutes. So if someone wants to ask questions, now it's the time to do it because it's 9 minutes left of this stream. So, thanks for watching, and yeah, as I said, number 8 that came in just now. If you want to ask a question, you can. Yeah. We need some food. I'm gonna zoom out. Yeah, have a great, and thanks for the super chat. It's so sweet of you. It's really nice. I should have more of you. Maybe someday, you know, you never know. If I could actually, I'm gonna just zoom out for the last minutes here. It's funny, so many people that come in here and they don't even bother giving it a thumbs up. And it's so annoying. It's so easy to do. So, please, just, when I post a new video, please just give it a thumbs up and let it play. You don't have to watch it, of course, just let it play. And that's a very good way to. I do miss your comments when I post new videos. It's very helpful. So I should stop whining about this, but sometimes it's actually, sometimes, not often, as I say to my girlfriend, you know, if a video or short or whatever takes off, enjoy. But you can't really let yourself be too affected of not being the most famous YouTuber or getting all the views you hope for. because then you just, it's like when I was in prison, I played a lot of chess, and I hadn't played chess for 30 years or at least 20 years. And I came in there and there was this guy, this Romanian guy. He was from Romania too. There's a lot of Romanian people there in Romania. And he had decided not to lose before he was going to leave. And he was really good actually. And he won 4 times in a row. Or was it 3 times or something? And then we played one more, and he probably became a little bit complacent, and he didn't take me serious, and he lost with a big bang. I even got 2 extra queens. I have no idea how he could screw up so much. And he was devastated, totally devastated. And he was also very arrogant and stuff. And when I told other people that I won, he got angry at me because I told people. I mean, if you're that kind of person, you shouldn't play chess, you shouldn't play anything, you shouldn't do sports, you shouldn't do anything. Because if you can't really lose, if you can't really accept that some people are better than you, or you're not always getting what you want, if you let that get to you, you will be paralyzed at some point. And I know the people who enjoy my videos, they actually enjoy them a lot. And despite that not being that many people, I had people who had told me, people from Iraq told me that I kind of got them to start painting again. I've had messages like that from all over the world, how I inspired them. And in many ways that is enough. It is a good enough reason to do what I do, posting videos on YouTube. Because affecting a person in a different country, it's you know, you can reach out and touch another person deeply and getting them to become creative again. It is good enough in itself, I think. But of course, if more people gave likes and more people watched and I could earn more money on it, I could also spend more time on it, and I will touch even more people. So anyway, 2 minutes left. Any questions? Bring it on. If not, forever hold your peace, isn't that what you're saying when you get married? This is actually moving in the right direction, which is a little bit too fat, and I made it a little bit too fat, I think, to the face. I have to bring it back in again. But this is a job that is so tedious. You can also be the shadows I put in here that I have to. You can actually just be the shadows, the lack of shadow, and that makes it look a little bit bigger in the face than she actually is. So here too, you can use your fingers also, just as you know it. Turner uses nails. He had some long nails. He was always scraping into the canvas. You can crisscross like this and create almost kind of gravure-like textures to make things fluent and kind of just mix into one another, because there's no, it's very hard for me to see where it ends or starts. So, yeah. I'll use a bit more. And bronze key color cranberry. Lenny, you say a lot of funny stuff. No idea what that means. But okay. You can leave a comment and tell me. Yes. That was 2 hours, and I usually don't stand in one spot for that long. I usually move around a little bit more. So it was a nice stream. Hope you enjoyed. And of course, as usual, I post this on my channel so you can see it after the fact. And then too, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, tell me what you think. If you have any ideas of what you want me to talk about in my streams, please tell me. I'm open for suggestions. So, yeah, with this, I will end this, I guess, by showing you this. And of course, it's getting closer. But it's a lot of, you know, the colors are way too vivid when I see them here. And I see that I went actually too far down here. I need to get that up, back up again. Anyway, that is a back and forth. And here it is. And there are you. And maybe I should try to play some piano tonight. That always cheers me up. No, I don't play the piano good enough. At this point, some muscle. Okay, I hope you enjoyed for the ones that was here. And remember, thumbs up, leave comments. And see you in my next stream. Bye-bye.